Retirement debate returns. New tonight, with age at the fore of the U.S. presidential race, Bahamians weigh in on whether age limits should apply to prime ministers. Also, the education chief slams the politicizing of Harbor Island all-age schools repair issues, calling out the Free National Movement for what she says are circus games. Road to Paris Olympics. Devin Charlton and Stephen Gardner named flag bearers for Team Bahamas. All eyes on the opening tomorrow as the star athletes carry the black, gold, and aquamarine. Then in our news at 7:30, despite promised savings, high cost of electricity remains a concern. Residents sound off. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. The question of when someone should retire and make way for a younger generation is back in the spotlight, especially as age has become a significant factor in the ongoing U.S. presidential race, with 2 candidates over the age of 75. Many Bahamians closely following American politics have suggested that age limits should also apply to prime ministers. Our Bethany McDermott asked local residents for their opinions and found mixed feelings on the issue.
A major push for U.S. President Joe Biden to drop out of the presidential race centers on his age and ability to defeat former President Donald Trump and serve another 4 years. Biden, 81, and Trump, 78, are both older candidates. This U.S. race took a sharp turn, with Biden announcing this week he would leave the race and endorse his VP Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. It followed calls for him to exit after multiple blunders and a shaky debate performance. The issue of age is also being discussed in Bahamian political circles regarding candidates for prime minister, and in the wider community, the issue is also being considered. These healthcare professionals telling our news they believe that after a certain age, it's time to move aside.
For me, at my age limit, and when we work with older people, sometimes they tend to be moody, sometimes they tend to be at a slow pace than they supposed to be. So I would say no to that.
Because if you all stay in the position for a long time, then what for us? Well, how are we supposed to be able to get a chance for our children, what is growing up?
Ashley Knowles, a tertiary educator, shares a different view. He believes people should be allowed to work beyond the retirement age as long as they're able to fully function in their role.
I think when you get past that 65, 70, maybe we should have those conversations about, okay, does the person need to get any, mental or physical checks and those type of things?
We put the question to Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell, who said this.
I don't believe in retirements. I believe you work until you are physically unable or mentally incapable of doing so, and that each person, whether you're 21 or whether you're 81, has to be judged on their physical and mental capacities.
There was this one individual, an educator, who agrees with the foreign minister's position. He believes if you're able to, you should continue working.
I think you should work until your faculties, your mind and your whatever is no longer of use, viable.
Reporting for our news, I'm Bethany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that, Bethany. Meanwhile, a 26-year-old man is facing charges over a deadly boating accident involving an American. Catalin Dorcent stood before Magistrate Samuel McKinney, charged with manslaughter by negligence in the March 20th death of 67-year-old Paul Sutton Finch, Jr. The American citizen was diving in Winding Bay, Eleuthera, when he was run over by a boat. Dorcent didn't have to plead to the charge. His bail was set at $9,500. He's expected back in court on September 23rd to be indicted. And Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin responding to critics who she believes have politicized the condition of the Harbor Island all-age school. In a recent update on the school situation, Hannah Martin addressed the issue of the school's dilapidated campus, which has suffered broken windows, unusable restrooms, and condemned building structures for several years. The minister now accusing members of the Free National Movement of engaging in what she describes as circus games concerning the school's condition.
It's disingenuous, it's really, it's trite, and it's really quite insulting to the Bahamian people. We came across this scenario when we took office in 2021, And we are now resolving in September of 2021. Schools were closed until the following January, and we met a lot of unfinished projects. It was really chaotic. And so, we didn't point fingers. I was very careful not to point fingers. I could have, and maybe I should have, to cause these individuals who believe they have a voice now on these things.
The education chief says in September, students will walk into a brand new facility.
We're waiting to hear from the Ministry of Works on their advice on whether the current structure is condemned. I'm told it is. We want the formal advice. It'll be demolished. It will not be there, we are hoping, come September. And we are working with the building that was commenced and advanced by the second homeowners. We're taking it over to completion, and we expect that the students of Harbor Island will be in that new structure come September. And we do not anticipate them being in that structure.
All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, including the 2 flag bearers that have been named for Team Bahamas for the 2024 Paris Olympics. But before we get to that, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Candino, and a happy hot Thursday evening, everybody. Of course, we've been talking about the heat for the last couple of days, and it looks as though we may get a bit of a break on the weekend as we have some moisture coming in place. But it is still warm outside our studios. 86 degrees is our current temperature. Few clouds. Still have a bit of a breeze. East winds at 15 miles per hour, shaving a few degrees off the temperature, but it still feels like a very warm 97 degrees on the outside. Temperatures around the islands right now, it's 85. Freeport, Marsh Harbor, Abaco. Over in Great Harbor Key, Governor's Harbor, we pick up a pair of 86s. Alistown, Bimini, Nicholstown, Andros, the Big Yard. Also here in the capital. 86 in Kemps Bay, 84 Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn Townsend, Salvador, and in Deadman's Key, Georgetown, 85. And into the southeast Bahamas, mid-80s there, 85 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, Delectable Bay, my favorite spot there, 84 in Abrahams Bay, 83 Matthewtown, Inagua, and Providenciales. You are 86 at this hour. Satellite radar composite, that upper level low is just nudging closer to us, but we have some moisture being pulled out of the tropics across Hispaniola as well as eastern Cuba and the southeast Bahamas. Some of that will lend support to some showers and isolated thunderstorms, but this big cluster is expected to slide slowly towards us. So we're looking for Friday, Saturday, an increase in some shower activity, and of course that could lend some relief to the heat wave we've been experiencing for the last couple of days. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Thanks, Greg. And still to come on our news, Devin Charlton and Stephen Gardner named flag bearers for Team Bahamas at the 2024 Paris Olympics. And coming up in our sports, the Bahamian equestrian team finishes 3rd at the World Clubs Tournament when our news returns.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
The Paradise Hotel.
When can I sell?
Is this what the hotel is really worth?
The kids find themselves on more exciting island adventures.
So stay tuned for some really hot new episodes.
This is 242 The Gospel.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
extra.
What are you? Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Cora Hepburn shared the exciting news on her Facebook page earlier today. Swimming events will take place from July 27 to August 4th, while track and field competitions will run from August 1st to 11th. And while the athletes on Team Bahamas get set to put on their best performances at the Paris Olympics, the Bahamian equestrian team finishes third in international competition and back-to-back home runs for Sebastian Walcott. Our Sports is up next.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The 36th Jeff Rogers Summer Basketball Camp continued its tradition of showcasing local talent in the sport and had some very special guests in attendance. The Thompson family made their annual appearance to the group of aspiring students today at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium.
I was a young guy in my early teens, and I knew about Sterling Quant, Tyrone Akers-Strawn, Sharon Storr, Fred Sturrup, Peter Jilcood, Charlie Rubens. Those are the guys that I grew up watching and admiring and thinking, boy, I could never play with those guys because they were Bahamian legends. So it meant a lot for me to see those guys in the flesh and to hear what they had to say. So hopefully I can have that same kind of impact on the youth today.
Equestrian Bahamas came home with some hardware. The 4-member team placed third at the World Clubs Tournament in France.
Team Bahamas began the group stage with a loss at the Central Basket Under-15 Championships for women. Costa Rica defeated the Bahamas 80-38 at the tournament opener in David, Panama.
We suffered a tough loss yesterday versus Costa Rica, a team that we hung with for the first 2 quarters, and then for some reason in the third quarter they opened up the gap. We suffered a lot of turnovers, and we also forced some turnovers. What happened is we didn't capitalize off our turnovers. They played a lot of man-to-man, bumped us off the ball, used a lot of force and a lot of aggression.
2 home runs in 2 games for Sebastian Walcott. He may have this high A thing figured out. Walcott hit home run number 9 last night in the Hickory Crawdads 5-4 win over the Greenville Drive.
That'll do it for Our Sports. This is 10YS. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more. Back to the studio.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as U.S. President Joe Biden announces his withdrawal from the 2024 race in a solemn Oval Office address. Plus, Boeing finalizes a plea deal with the U.S. Department of Justice. And we'll tell you the record tickets sold for the Paris Olympics when Our News returns.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here, whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun. Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
The Paradise
hotel.
When can I sell? Is this what the hotel is really worth?
The kids find themselves on more exciting island adventures.
So stay tuned for some really hot new episodes.
This is 242 the gospel.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you is?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. United States President Joe Biden announced his withdrawal from the 2024 presidential race in a solemn Oval Office address Wednesday. At 81, he emphasized the importance of defending democracy and endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris as his successor. Biden outlined his ambitious agenda for his final months, including ending the Gaza war and fighting gun violence. Biden did not mention his opponent, Donald Trump, in his 10-minute address.
I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
Boeing is set to plead guilty to conspiracy to defraud the United States and pay a minimum fine of $243.6 million as part of a plea deal with the Department of Justice. The plane maker misled the Federal Aviation Authority about its MAX's new MCA's software, which contributed to fatal crashes in Indonesia in 2018 and Ethiopia in 2019. The planes were grounded until Boeing made crucial safety adjustments. The agreement also includes a 3-year probation period, a $455 million investment in safety programs, and the appointment of an independent compliance monitor. Boeing won't receive immunity for other conduct under investigation. Paris 2024 has set a record with 9.7 million tickets sold or allocated, surpassing Atlanta 1996's 8.3 million. Of the 10 million tickets offered, 8.7 million are for the Olympics and 1 million for the Paralympics, though some remain available. Organizers also gave out around 1 million free tickets to enhance accessibility. Despite the record-breaking sales, organizers say many seats will still be empty. All right, back here at home, whether your favorite is conch salad, cracked conch, or conch chowder, the iconic shellfish is a major staple in traditional Bahamian food. However, as demand grows, their numbers are dwindling. In tonight's edition of Sustainability First, Marlena Leonard introduces us to the team in Grand Bahama working to restore those numbers.
Bahamas First, putting sustainability first for our people and our environment. What's first for you and the planet comes first for us.
The queen conch is a beloved local delicacy and a significant cultural symbol. However, due to high demand from both locals and tourists, these iconic shellfish are now listed as threatened under the Endangered Species Act in the U.S. At Blue Action Labs Conservation Cove near Coral Vita, Grand Bahama, people like Operations Manager Tony Johns are dedicated to restoring conch populations with their mobile conch hatchery. Johns explains how it all begins.
There's some conch eggs here. You can see we've taken a small part of the egg mass, and these will be ready to hatch tonight at 9 o'clock.
And the care continues post-hatching.
After 3 weeks, they then become the conch that we know. Their little butterfly lobes withdraw, and they turn into something that looks a little bit like this, which is still microscopic, but nevertheless looks like the conch we know.
But it doesn't happen without the tender, loving care of aquaculture technician Lachelle Russell.
I'm responsible for cleaning out their tanks, monitoring their growth, ensuring that they're being fed, preparing the food that they eat, just their all-around day-to-day care.
As for why it's so important,
nowhere else has the voracious appetite that we do, and especially with the amount of visitors we get here, that everyone who wants to try conch, it's just not part of everyday life in every other nation. It's Bahamian way of life, and that's what we're trying to save.
Reporting for Our News and reminding you to put sustainability first, I'm Marlena Leonard.
All right, thanks so much for that, Marlena. Well, we are learning some sad news tonight. As a prominent figure in the Grand Bahama community, Chris Lowe has passed away. Lowe was the operations manager at Kelly's Grand Bahama, a member of the Rotary Club of Freeport, and a former president of Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce. His son, Thomas Lowe, releasing a statement today saying his father passed away this morning after a grueling battle with lung cancer over the last few weeks. He continued expressing his sincere gratitude to everyone who supported his father and helped make Lowe's dream of opening the Out There Floating Bar a reality. Thomas closed with a request to give family time to grieve, thanking friends of the family for making his father's last few years on earth exceptional. Lowe was 60 years old. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was July 25th. Then in our news at 7:30, a toddler remains in critical condition after nearly drowning at a resort in Grand Bahama. We'll tell you the preliminary investigations. And the knife attack that's landed a taxi driver in jail. When Our News returns.
No travel, no problem. Summer is here, whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun. Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
The Paradise Hotel.
When can I sell? Is this what the hotel is really worth?
The kids find themselves on more exciting island adventures.
So stay tuned for some really hot new episodes.
This is 242 The Gospel.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
Extra. What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of
On this day in Bahamian history in 1860, the slave ship Peter Mole was wrecked off Linyard Key, Abaco. The vessel was coming from the Congo River, making its way to Havana, Cuba, when it was shipwrecked, carrying 400 enslaved Africans to be sold. Of the enslaved, 390 were able to make it safely to shore and were later rescued by Bahamian wreckers including Ridley Pinder and Henry Sweeting. Then 25 years later in 1885, the Vatican transferred the authority of the Catholic Church in the Bahamas from the Diocese of Charleston to the Diocese of New York. The Bahamas would be part of the New York Diocese until it became its own ecclesiastical unit on February 7, 1932. Fast forward to 1956, when an article appeared in the Palm Beach Post detailing the resignation of then House Speaker Frank Christie, who was accused of election fraud and corruption. Christie was Member of Parliament for Abaco and at one time Cat Island. Demonstrators picketed outside the House of Assembly when they discovered a secret assembly meeting was being held to quell the allegations against Christie. He was forced to resign shortly after. Days after his resignation, the case went to the Magistrates' Court, where then Magistrate Maxwell Thompson decided there was insufficient evidence to move the case to a higher court, and all allegations were dismissed. And finally, in 2014, the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation, BAIC, corporate offices were officially opened on Soldier Road at the Industrial Park by then Prime Minister Perry Christie, in a ribbon-cutting ceremony to commemorate the event. The Sugar Factory at Bahamar launched a music series recently with an exclusive guest DJ. Amidst delectable sweets and vibrant energy, Danielle Miller reports the night was a fantastic celebration.
What's going on, guys? It's DJ James Kennedy, and I'm here at Sugar Factory Bahamas, and we're about to get this party started. Let's go.
Before diving into the party, I must admit, I'd never been to Sugar Factory or attended an event there. I was eager and ready for surprises. And let me tell you, the ambiance was incredible. From the extravagant goblet drinks to the vibrant food colors, it was a feast for the senses. If you're ever visiting during your birthday, it's a movie. The staff's birthday celebrations are a true spectacle. But the icing on the cake this particular night was the performance by Liv's resident DJ, James Kennedy, who brought his high-energy beats from Miami and Las Vegas.
Tonight is the first time I'm seeing James Kennedy DJ, and I mean, I don't know if y'all get it. It's a party. You would think I'm in Vegas, but we right at Bahamas in Nassau. You know I live in the bush. In Bralin, shout out to Bralin. So this is so refreshing, so fun, so new, a different vibe. I'm having a blast.
He had everyone fist pumping and dancing from inside the restaurant to outside.
Tonight was too sweet here at the Sugar Factory. Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, that definitely looked really sweet. Thanks so much for that, Denny. If you want to watch our story again, and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Marlena Leonard with the latest headlines. Marlena?
Thanks, Ken. Well, a toddler remains in critical condition after nearly drowning at a resort in Grand Bahama. Plus, the knife attack that's landed a taxi driver in jail. Here are your latest headlines.
First tonight in Our News Live at 7:30, as Prime Minister Philip Davis promises residents lower power bills this month, we hear from residents to see whether they're really feeling the impact. And investigations continue. A near drowning yesterday leaves a 4-year-old in critical condition on Grand Bahama after a lifeguard's life-saving CPR rescue. Plus, Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin standing strong on her views against the proposed Nassau Cruise Port's water park project. And later, the Our News to the Islands adventure continues. Tonight, our Jerome Sawyer takes us through the realities of island life, saying even in paradise, there are problems. All that and more when Our News Live at 7:30 returns.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. Inti is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on the island of Grand Bahama as Inti Corporation shines brighter than ever. Inti Corporation, powering your world, powering your future.
Bahamas?
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Marlena Leonard. Prime Minister Philip Davis promises residents lower power bills this month, thanks to his administration's energy reform plan. Our reporter, Joshua Williams, hit the streets today to see if residents are feeling the impact.
I invite all Bahamians, check your bills at the end of July.
Our light bill gone up all $800.
Prime Minister Philip Davis promised that consumers would see savings in energy bills come July. But has this promise translated to reality?
It actually increased from June to July, so no decrease. Now, I'm not sure if that's because I'm using more power, but no decrease this month.
It's like $100 more than it was the last bill came out.
They swing us, the light bill gone up. Everybody's light bill gone up. The fuel surcharge is going up every month. It is criminal.
And this senior citizen says she's not immune to the high costs either.
$387. I only have 2 doctors' air conditioning, nothing else. The month before they charged me $375.
And the next month, July, they charged me $387.
On social media, responses were mixed, some reporting an increase in their bills, while others have seen a slight decrease. In addition to promised savings, the Davis administration committed to expanding solar projects nationwide as part of its comprehensive energy reform plan presented in the recent budget debate. But what do residents think is the real solution for BPL?
It'll be good. If we do solar, it will alleviate plenty stress and problems within BC, little BPL community, you know, at least because the way I understand it, once you get solar, you send us power back to the grid.
Well, I'm about to look for some solar lights right now, but I think that'll help a little too.
Vote them out.
In terms of fuel, hopefully we can get back to the hedge again, and maybe we can save going forward, hopefully.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Police in Grand Bahama are investigating a near drowning yesterday at a resort in the Lucaya area involving a 4-year-old boy. Police say around 3 p.m. the toddler was at the children's pool with a female family member who stepped away to assist the toddler's sibling. Upon her return, the child was found unconscious in the pool. A lifeguard who was on duty promptly intervened, removing the boy from the pool and administering CPR until the ambulance arrived. The child was transported to the hospital for medical attention, where he remains in critical condition. Investigations continue. And a 41-year-old taxi driver who pulled a knife on a dispatcher at the Lyndon Pindling International Airport has been jailed for a month. Silvano Kemp received the sentence after he pleaded guilty to unlawfully carrying arms at his arraignment before acting magistrate Anishka Pennerman. On July 12th, Kemp got into a heated exchange with dispatcher Gary Bain while outside of the International Departure Lounge and pulled a knife on him. Police intervened and arrested Kemp. Video of the incident went viral on social media. Education Minister Glenys Hanna-Martin is standing 10 toes down on her views against the proposed Nassau Cruise Port's water park project. Recently, in the House of Assembly, Hanna-Martin told the developers at the port to, quote, please give it a rest regarding the plans. She said tourists visit our country to enjoy our culture and unique, authentic experiences rather than a port or dock. Today, when pressed by reporters, the veteran politician remained firm in her position.
My comments spoke for themselves in the House Assembly. Very clear, very plain. And so I don't want to comment further. The facts are there. The Bahamian people know what time it is. And so I don't want to comment further on it. I mean, the facts are there. I explained it in the House. And so, that's the position.
A local hotel is boasting nearly 90% occupancy, adding that levels are ramping up as we near the end of the summer. Club Med Director of Human Resources for North America, Angeles Martinez, adds it's normal for the summer season.
Right now, I can tell you that we are hitting 85% occupancy, and it pretty much stays the same throughout the summer. Then we're going to be closing, and once we reopen for the winter season, these levels tend to go back up. So it is very, very linear in terms of occupancy.
Club Med Columbus Isle on San Salvador reopened in October 2022 on the heels of the COVID-19 pandemic. The property employs at least 300 Bahamians and remains the lifeline of the island's economy. Martinez says it's been a continual rise since they reopened following the global shutdown of the industry during COVID.
We took a little while to reopen our Club Med in San Salvador for many, many reasons. We needed to ensure that we were safe enough to do it. We needed to ensure that we didn't have enough restrictions that wouldn't allow our guests to have a good time yet with the sanitary restrictions, but the occupancy has been ramping up. The wonderful thing about this particular club is that it sustains certain levels of occupancy.
Well, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it was another hot summer's day in the capital. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Marlene, and happy Thursday evening, everybody. Another warm day around the islands. Temperatures managed to get back into the 90s with heat indices in the triple digits. It's still warm on the outside. 86 degrees is our current temperature. Your winds out of the east at 15 miles per hour with a little bit of a breeze, but it still feels like a very warm 97 degrees on the outside. Satellite radar composite, quiet across areas, surface ridge in charge, surface high pressure ridge in charge. But we have that mid to upper level low that's spinning just to the east of the Bahamas. That's bringing in some tropical moisture across the southeastern islands. So places like Inagua, Turks and Caicos Islands, even the Aucklands and Crooked Island and Maguana, you could see some isolated showers. But this cluster here is going to slide out towards the west, should bring us a relief for some temperatures and also bring us a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms Friday through Saturday. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, a local exterminator shares effective methods for ridding your property of some of summer's worst flying pests. And the Our News to the Island series continues in Exuma with our Jerome Sawyer when Our News returns.
Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task, unplugging appliances not in use. That's energy conservation. Replacing an old refrigerator, washing machine with a new model, adding insulation to the attic and walls of a home. That's energy efficiency. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
With scorching temperatures this summer, there are mounting concerns about mosquito-borne illnesses. Although small in size, mosquitoes pose a significant health risk. In this report, Ardelvardo Emmanuel speaks with a local exterminator who shares effective methods for eliminating these unwelcome guests from your property.
What you want to do is limit the breeding grounds for mosquitoes. That's what every homeowner can do. You limit those breeding grounds. If you're going to be outdoors, I would suggest that you wear long sleeve clothing if you have to be outdoors. If you're at an event, there are certain measures that people take prior to the event.
Cresswell Wallace is an exterminator and supervisor at Rental Kill Bahamas, educating residents on how to safeguard their homes from mosquitoes this summer. Known for their irritating bites, the pesky insects are also carriers of potentially deadly diseases such as West Nile, Zika viruses, chikungunya, and dengue fever. Containing the deadly diseases is a pressing issue in local communities, forcing government to carry out island-wide fogging exercises annually. But Wallace is calling fogging a short-term fix.
When you do fogging, especially around brush, the material attaches itself to the brush. Okay, the mosquitoes land on the brush and then they get contaminated by the product. Okay, so anytime there's a fogging treatment carried out and you have a heavy downpour or rain following that, there's a great likelihood that that product is going to be washed away and then you have to retreat.
And if you happen to hear a fogging machine in your neighborhood, here's what you can do.
Some people have a different tolerance towards pesticides or, chemicals. The good thing about us when we do a treatment is that we have options. We actually have an organic product that we use. That's one of our best features when it comes to fogging for mosquitoes. With that product, I would suggest that people open up their windows to allow the product to be able to flow through, and it doesn't have any adverse effect on occupants of the home or their pets or animals.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvardo Emmanuel.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual fund in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Coming up in sports, we had some special guests in the house at the Jeff Rogers basketball camp and a historic finish for Equestrian Bahamas in France.
As the Our News to the Island's journey through Exuma continues, our Jerome Sawyer tells us even in paradise there are problems when Our News returns. Stay with us.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. An annual staple at the Jeff Rogers Summer Basketball Camp, the Thompson family continues its community outreach with the event. Bahamian basketball icon, former #1 overall draft pick, and two-time NBA champion Michael Thompson, alongside his eldest son Michael, a Bahamian national team standout, visited the camp at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium. Michael was recruited from the Bahamas to Miami Jackson High and eventually to the University of Minnesota. He was the top overall pick in the 1978 NBA draft by the Portland Trail Blazers and enjoyed a 13-year career highlighted by a pair of championships with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, it feels like I'm home. No matter how far I live from the Bahamas, how long I've been away, every time I come back here, I get re-energized, rejuvenated, because I feel like I'm among my people, I'm home, and it's always a pleasure and an honor to come back and talk to the youth, and hopefully they'll be continuing to willing to listen to me, even though I'm an old man now.
Always a strong presence in the Bahamas, the Thompson family are a frequent participant in the camp's festivities. Michael has been a member of the senior men's national team since 2014 and now serves as a member of the coaching staff.
To see this every summer when I come home, it's a great thing to see. I mean, Jeff's been doing it 35 years, so since I can remember coming to the Bahamas, I remember coming to this camp, so it means a lot to my family. My dad comes every summer.
Camp director Jeff Rogers said the Thompson family story serves as an inspiration for the young campers each and every year.
Talking to Michael and talking to Muggsy, you know, to know how these guys sacrifice to plan their schedule, you know, to be in the Bahamas every summer. And it's not as easy as it looks. And, you know, I got to get back to you, Jeff. You know, I got to move this around, even though they put it on their schedule.
A historic moment for Equestrian Bahamas was highlighted by a top 3 finish in the first international jumping event. The team finished 3rd at the World Clubs tournament in Le Mans-Brevard, France. China topped the point standing, followed by the Czech Republic in 2nd, and the 4 ladies of Team Bahamas, Katrina Coelho, Emma Johnston, Ella Seide, and Sienna Tinker in 3rd. Italy and France rounded out the top 5.
Team Bahamas is off to a tough start at the Under-15 Central Basket Championship for women. The team lost 80-38 in their tournament opener yesterday in David, Panama. Andika Curtis was the lone Bahamian player in double figures with 12 points. Tajanique Morley finished with 9 points and Rakara Beadle scored 7. Team Bahamas trailed by just 2 at the end of the first quarter, 16-14, but were held to just 14 points combined over the next 2 quarters. Costa Rica outscored them 41-16 in the second half to take control for good. The Bahamas took on El Salvador this afternoon in Game 2.
If the MLB Futures game announces arrival on the main stage, Sebastian Wildcard's production this summer will be ensuring we'll be hearing his name for a while. The Texas Rangers' top prospect hit back-to-back home runs for the Hickory Crawdads this week. His 9th on the season came last night against the Greenville Drive. Playing in short and batting third in the lineup, Wildcard went 3 for 4 with an RBI and scored 2 runs. In 14 games thus far in July, Wildcard is hitting .306 with 5 RBI, 5 doubles, 3 stolen bases, and 2 home runs.
That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. 4 days left until the trade deadline.
It needs to hurry up.
Fingers crossed. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on Our News tonight. As the Our News to the Island's journey through Exuma continues, our Jerome Sawyer tells us even in paradise, there were problems. And Greg is back with your extended weather when Our News continues.
No problem. Summer is here. Whether you're fighting to stay cool or heating up the fun, Our News Weekend is your guide to the ultimate staycation. We're talking all of the hidden gems right in our backyard, from the hottest bars and lounges to the coolest excursions and events in town. So stay cool, stay local, and stay tuned. Tune in every Saturday to make sure your summer staycation is an unforgettable sensation. Only on Our News Weekend.
The Paradise Hotel.
When can I sell?
Is this what the hotel is really worth?
The kids find themselves on more exciting island adventures.
So stay tuned for some really hot new episodes.
This is 242 The Gospel.
This video needs to show us on a different scale. It has to be
extra.
What, eh?
Hey, Quay.
Hey, what you saying?
Where you with?
I heard you on the bus stop with my friend.
Okay, so we want to shoot this video, and it's gonna be extra.
All right, Jim. I can just come to you. All right. I need your 25 cents no more.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. Inti is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on
Welcome back to our news. Thanks for sticking with us. In our extended forecast, we take a look at the water vapor once again this evening. Low pressure system in the mid and upper levels, or what we call an upper level disturbance, going to be sliding towards the west, but we have some dry air mass moving across on the western side of that low. Also, it's picking up some more dry air mass across the southern and southeast western Bahamas. That's going to wrap around into that low. But we will continue to see some moisture being pulled towards the north as this low continues to slide towards the west. So we're looking at some increase in shower and thunderstorm activity over the chain of islands over the next day or two before things quiet up once again for the early part of next week. But this upper level low will create a bit of instability across us for the next couple of days. Taking a look at our satellite picture, Showers and thunderstorms associated with that low still out there in the open Atlantic. Some of the activity moving across Hispaniola as well as the Anagua and the Turks and Caicos Islands, and it will continue to be so. At the surface, high pressure in charge, breezy conditions expected across the central and southeast Bahamas for the next day or so. In the tropics, we are quiet right now, but we are watching a very strong tropical wave that's coming off the African coast. That one we will continue to keep our eyes closely locked to that as that continues to slide towards the west. Expected once it gets into the Leeward Island area, it should possibly gain some potential for development, but that's one that we will continue to monitor. The Caribbean, quiet. Gulf of Mexico, also quiet. And of course, tropical cyclone formation is not expected for the next 7 days. Future forecast showing the moisture associated with that upper level low still out there in the open Atlantic. Moisture being pulled across the central and southeast Bahamas, scattering of some showers and thunderstorms Friday, and that will continue through Saturday as that low pulls towards the west. And of course, as I mentioned, a relief for the heat. Boating forecast, still a challenge out there for you boaters. Southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet near shore in northwest Bahamas, but building up to 5 feet in easterly swells. Tide is presently low, will be high at midnight. The next low tide will be at 6:23 tomorrow. For the central and southeast Bahamas, caution flag for you guys down there. Winds slightly stronger, east to southeast, 15 to 20 knots. 4 to 6 foot seas expected in easterly swells. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, with that upper level low getting closer to us, Friday, Saturday, showers in the forecast, isolated thunderstorms possible. We clear out some on Sunday, but we expect more showers in the forecast Monday through Wednesday, and then we get a little bit of a relief by late next week. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
An island like Staniel Key can appear to be paradise to its visitors and the people who live there. But on looking a little closer, the people who call it home or a home away from home are facing some issues. Our Jerome Sawyer is there this week and tells us that even in paradise, there are problems.
Behind some of the best beaches and waters in the world, breathtaking views and great adventures, there are some day-to-day issues for the people living on and visiting Staniel Key. The first is reliable power.
Staniel Key gets power from Black Point, which is 5 miles south of here, by a submarine cable. So occasionally we may have cable failure. We also sometimes the generator might fail. They have a generator on Staniel, but at this point it's not big enough to really sustain what Staniel Key has.
As the local government representative here, Stephen Miller, says he's hoping BPL will soon hear the cries for better, more reliable service. Home and business owners shared stories of losing revenue and appliances, or simply trying to explain to a guest paying thousands in room nights why they are without power. Then there's the waste issue, with yachts bringing as many as 40 bags of trash at a time to the island's dump site.
Over the years, it's really gotten full, and now it's almost as if we have a mountain in the middle of the dump site because that's the only way to keep the area clear for garbage. So one of our major challenges, and I would have spoken to central government about it, is to try and take what we have in there out, and then let's put somebody there that can manage the dump sites.
You need only look at the island's only bridge to see how bad it is. The north to south connector bridge is already closed to heavy equipment, with golf carts now restricted to one-lane traffic only.
It's in horrible shape, and it's been that way for a while. South Staniel is where most of the private land is. So we have a lot of expat that own second homes over there. And so to connect that with the village is very vital.
Government has indicated a costly bridge repair this fiscal period. There's also the promise of some much-needed airport repairs. Miller, like so many others who visit and live here, is hopeful that this time around, the promises turn into action. In Staniel Key, reporting for Our News, I'm Jerome Sawyer.
Thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Marlena Leonard. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.